Just remember, you are the prize. Always. That was the golden slogan, right? That was the mantra Lori Harvey used to navigate the Hollywood dating scene like a grandmaster playing chess against amateurs. But on March 15, 2026, the game didn't just end. The board was flipped, burnt, and tossed out the window. When Michael B. Jordan stood on that stage, clutching his first ever Oscar for Sinners, he didn't just win a trophy, he won the ultimate breakup war. And while the world was cheering for the greatest redemption arc in cinema history, a certain congratulations message was reportedly hitting his inbox, and it wasn't from a fan. It was from the woman who allegedly told the world he wasn't ready for her level. But wait, it gets messier. Because that one message didn't just get ignored by Michael, it reportedly sent her current man, Damson Idris, into a total tailspin. We're talking shaking the table level drama, people. Did Lori Harvey just realize she fumbled the biggest bag in entertainment history? Is Damson Idris officially playing second fiddle to an Oscar-winning ghost? Tonight, we're peeling back the curtain on the message Michael B. Jordan refused to answer and the fallout that is currently tearing the Harvey Idris household apart. Grab your drinks, because this isn't just tea, it's a 400-degree volcano of regret. The shift in power we witnessed on that Oscar night wasn't just about a golden statue or a career milestone, it was a complete and total realignment of the Hollywood hierarchy as we know it. For years the narrative surrounding Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey was one-sided and carefully curated. We all remember 2022 when the news broke that they were over. At the time the headlines were filled with talk about Lori being the one to walk away because Michael wanted more than she was willing to give. The narrative was that she was the prize and he was just another suitor who couldn't keep up with her pace or her standards. But fast forward to 2026 and the optics have changed so drastically it's almost unrecognizable. Michael B. Jordan didn't just stay relevant, he transformed into an industry titan. His performance in Sinners, playing those dual roles of Smoke and Stack, didn't just earn him an Oscar, it cemented him as the undisputed king of his generation. And that is exactly where the trouble begins for Lori Harvey. Reports are now flooding in from high-level sources within the industry that the moment Michael's name was called on that stage, a certain someone felt the weight of a massive mistake. The investigation into this fallout suggests that Lori didn't just feel a twinge of regret, she reportedly felt a full-blown panic. According to insiders close to the situation, Lori reached out to Michael not just as a courtesy but as a desperate attempt to re-establish a connection with a man who has clearly surpassed every expectation she ever had for him. The leaked details are absolutely wild. We are hearing that the message she sent was far from a simple congratulatory text. It was a multi-paragraph emotional appeal that allegedly touched on their history and expressed how proud she was of the man he has become. But here is the kicker: Michael B. Jordan reportedly didn't even give her the satisfaction of a blue checkmark. Sources claim he looked at the notification and tossed his phone to an assistant before heading to the Vanity Fair after-party. He didn't just ignore her, he ghosted her at the highest level of celebrity possible. And while Michael was out celebrating his historic win back at the Harvey Idris residence, things were getting incredibly tense. Imagine being Damson Idris for a second. You are a successful actor in your own right, you have been by this woman's side through the ups and downs of the last few years, and then you catch her sending a heartfelt manifesto to her Oscar-winning ex-boyfriend in the middle of the night. Reports suggest that Damson discovered the outreach and it led to a confrontation that has left their relationship on life support. The investigation into their recent public appearances shows a clear lack of chemistry compared to just a few months ago. At the recent fashion gala in Paris, they were photographed together, but the body language was screaming discomfort. Damson looked like he wanted to be anywhere else, and Lori looked like a woman who knew she had been caught in a very compromising position. The public reaction to this has been a total bloodbath for Lori's reputation. For years she was seen as the untouchable queen of dating the woman who could leave a top-tier man and never look back. But the internet has turned on her with a level of sarcasm that is honestly breathtaking to watch. The memes are everywhere. People are posting side-by-side comparisons of Michael in 2022 versus Michael in 2026 with captions asking Lori if she still thinks he wasn't ready. The narrative has shifted from Lori being the prize to Lori being the one who fumbled the bag of the century. And it's not just the fans talking. Industry insiders are whispering that Lori's brand of being the beautiful girl who dates famous men is starting to lose its luster in the face of Michael's tangible massive success. He has the accolades, the production company, and the legacy. What does she have? A few brand deals and a relationship with Damson that looks shakier by the hour. The sarcasm from the commentary community has been relentless, with people calling her the female version of a scout who missed out on a generational talent. They are saying she saw a starter and didn't realize she was looking at a Hall of Famer. And we have to talk about the influence of the parents in this situation, because you know the Harveys are never far from the drama. Reports suggest that Marjorie Harvey is behind the scenes trying to do damage control for her daughter. You remember those cryptic Instagram posts from back in the day where she was hinting that Michael wasn't on their level? Well, those posts are being dragged back into the light and they have aged like spoiled milk. The investigation into the family dynamic reveals that Steve Harvey is reportedly caught in the middle. We've seen him being friendly with Michael at NBA games in the past, and he always seemed to have a genuine respect for the kid. But sources say Lori has made it very clear to her father that any interaction with Michael is now viewed as a betrayal. It's a total house of cards that is starting to collapse because Michael B. Jordan simply stopped caring about their approval. He moved on, he leveled up, and he left them all in the rearview mirror. The fallout from this message isn't just about a bruised ego, it's about a complete loss of leverage. Lori Harvey used to be the one who dictated the terms of the engagement. Now she is the one knocking on the door while Michael is inside the VIP room with the lights off. The most shocking part of the investigative reports we've received is that this wasn't Lori's first attempt to reach out. Allegedly, she had been sending feelers out through mutual friends for months leading up to the Oscars. She knew Sinners was going to be huge. She knew the momentum Michael had was unstoppable. And like a true opportunist, she tried to position herself back in his orbit before the climax of his career. But Michael was 10 steps ahead. He reportedly instructed his entire circle to cut off any communication channels that lead back to her. He didn't want the distraction, and he certainly didn't want to give her the satisfaction of being part of his win. This level of cold-blooded indifference is what has people so hooked on this story. It's the ultimate revenge, not through words or drama but through pure, undeniable excellence. As we look at the wreckage of this situation, the question remains: what happens next for the Harvey-Idris power couple? If you can even call them that anymore. Reports suggest that Damson has been spending more and more time alone in London, away from the Los Angeles spotlight. He is reportedly tired of being the rebound that everyone compares to Michael B. Jordan. And who can blame him? Every time he steps out, he has to deal with the shadow of an Oscar winner looming over his relationship. The investigation into his social media activity shows he has been distancing himself from Lori's circle and focusing entirely on his own projects. But the damage might already be done. When the news of Lori's message to Michael hit the inner circles of Hollywood, it made Damson look like a placeholder. And in a town built on ego, that is a death sentence for a relationship. Lori is reportedly trying to spin the story as a simple act of maturity, but nobody is buying it. Not the fans, not the industry, and certainly not Michael B. Jordan. The regret is visible, and as we dive deeper into the specific details of that night and the fallout that followed, we begin to see a pattern of behavior that suggests this was always going to happen. The moment the prize realized she wasn't the biggest trophy in the room, the entire foundation of her persona started to crack, and the world is watching the crumble in real time as the drama moves into an even more litigious and public phase of confrontation between all parties involved. The fallout didn't just stop at a few ignored text messages, because as the sun rose over Los Angeles the morning after the Oscars, the true scale of the disaster began to come into focus within the inner circles of the Hollywood elite. The tension between Lori Harvey and Damson Idris had reportedly reached a breaking point that no amount of public relations spin could fix. Investigative reports from sources close to the couple suggest that the confrontation that started in the early hours of the morning turned into a marathon session of accusations and deep-seated insecurities. Damson, who has always maintained a level of dignity and privacy regarding his personal life, was reportedly humiliated that the woman he was supposed to be building a future with was essentially chasing the ghost of her past on the biggest night of that past's life. The investigation reveals that Damson felt like a prop in a play he never signed up for, and the discovery of the messages to Michael was the final straw that broke the camel's back. Insiders claim that Lori tried to defend her actions by calling it a move of high emotional intelligence and maturity, asserting that as adults who shared years of their lives, it was only right to acknowledge such a monumental achievement. But according to those in the room, Damson wasn't buying the maturity argument for a single second. He reportedly pointed out the timing, noting that she didn't send a long emotional manifesto when Michael won his NAACP Image Awards or when his production company signed massive first-look deals. No, she waited until the entire world was bowing at his feet and until the narrative of him being the ultimate bachelor king was solidified by an Academy Award. The investigative findings suggest that Damson accused Lori of being addicted to the relevance that Michael's shadow provides, and this led to a massive blowout that saw Damson leaving their shared residence with nothing but a suitcase and a look of total defeat. While the drama was unfolding in private, the public backlash was reaching a fever pitch that was impossible to ignore. The sarcasm from the fans was reaching legendary status as people began to dissect every single interview Lori had given since the breakup in 2022. They went back to the clips where she talked about her peace and her values and her refusal to settle, and they held them up against the reported reality of her current desperation. The investigation into public sentiment shows a massive shift where people are no longer seeing her as the clever strategist of the dating world, but as someone who played a high-stakes game and finally lost. The internet is a cold place, and the memes comparing Michael's Oscar to Lori's reported text messages were being shared millions of times. One viral post depicted Michael B. Jordan sitting on a throne with his Oscar while Lori was edited into the background holding a phone with a caption that read, "Sorry, I didn't see your text, I was busy making history." This kind of public humiliation is something the Harvey brand has never had to deal with at this scale. And then we have to look at the suspicious timing of some of Lori's recent business moves, which investigators believe were calculated to distract from the Michael B. Jordan narrative. Just days after the Oscars, reports surfaced of a new skincare line expansion and a series of high-profile brand collaborations. But the investigation into these deals suggests that engagement is at an all-time low. People aren't clicking on the products, they are clicking on the comment sections to ask why she's still calling Michael. The sarcasm from the consumer base has become a legitimate threat to her financial empire. When your entire brand is built on being the girl every man wants and every woman wants to be, but the most desirable man in the world won't even reply to your text, the illusion starts to shatter. Reports from anonymous sources in the marketing world suggest that several major brands are now reconsidering their long-term contracts with Lori because the drama has become too toxic and the narrative is no longer about aspiration but about regret and public rejection. But let's dive deeper into the Michael B. Jordan side of this investigation, because his response, or lack thereof, is a masterclass in psychological warfare. Sources close to the actor say that he wasn't even surprised by the outreach. Apparently Michael has seen this movie before. The investigation into his past relationships reveals a pattern where once he reaches a new level of success, people from his past try to re-enter his life to claim a stake in the new glory. But this time was different because the stakes were so high. Michael reportedly told his inner circle that replying to Lori would be like giving a drowning person a hand only to have them pull you under with them. He is focused on his legacy, on his family, and on the incredible momentum he has built since leaving that relationship behind. The investigative reports claim that Michael has actually found the entire situation somewhat amusing. He isn't angry and he isn't seeking revenge, he is simply indifferent, which is the most powerful position a person can hold. The investigation also uncovered that Michael's team has been meticulously documenting any attempts at contact to ensure that there is no room for Lori to spin a fake narrative of a secret reconciliation. They are playing chess while she is playing checkers. Every time a report comes out claiming they are talking, Michael's camp is quick to shut it down with a level of cold efficiency that is terrifying to witness. They want the world to know that that chapter is not just closed, but the book has been burned and the ashes scattered. This has left Lori in a desperate position because her usual tactics of using the media to frame the story aren't working anymore. The investigators found that several media outlets that used to be friendly to the Harvey family have started to distance themselves because the Michael B. Jordan camp carries way more weight in 2026 than it did in 2022. The fallout is now extending to the people around Lori as well. We are hearing reports that her circle of friends, which used to be seen as the ultimate squad of Los Angeles, are starting to fracture. Some of them are reportedly embarrassed by the desperation being shown and are worried that being associated with the fumble of the bag will hurt their own social standing. The investigation into their private group chats, which have allegedly been leaked to certain bloggers, suggests that there is a lot of finger-pointing going on. Friends are asking why she didn't just stay quiet and let the moment pass. They are questioning why she risked her relationship with Damson for a 1 in a million shot at getting Michael's attention. It's a complete breakdown of the support system that used to make Lori Harvey feel untouchable. As the tension continues to build, the rumors of a legal battle over certain shared assets or even non-disclosure agreements have started to circulate. While they were never married, the investigation suggests that their business lives were more intertwined than the public knew. There are whispers of a potential legal probe into certain investment deals they entered into together back in 2021 that might now be causing friction. Michael reportedly wants a clean break in every sense of the word, including the financial side. He wants no ties and no excuses for her to ever reach out again. This has put Lori in a corner because losing those connections doesn't just hurt her heart, it hurts her bottom line. The sarcasm from the legal community watching this play out has been sharp, with experts noting that Michael is moving with the precision of a man who has been coached by the best crisis management teams in the world. And what about Damson Idris in all of this? The investigation into his current whereabouts reveals that he has completely scrubbed his social media of any recent photos with Lori. He hasn't made a formal statement, but the silence is deafening. Fans have been flooding his posts with support, telling him he deserves better and that he shouldn't be anyone's second choice. This has created a secondary wave of controversy because now Lori isn't just the woman who lost Michael B. Jordan, she's the woman who broke the heart of a good man like Damson because she couldn't stop looking in the rearview mirror. The fallout is massive, and the consequences are starting to manifest in ways that will change the trajectory of these three lives forever. The stage is set for a final confrontation that will either lead to a total rebranding for Lori or her complete exit from the top tier of the Hollywood social scene as the world prepares for the next chapter of this investigative deep dive into the most scandalous message of the decade. The investigation into the final collapse of this Hollywood triangle reveals that the endgame is no longer about a simple text message or a bruised ego. It has evolved into a full-scale battle for legacy and survival in an industry that has zero tolerance for those who lose their footing. As we move into the final phase of this scandal, the reports coming out of the Harvey camp are becoming increasingly erratic, suggesting a total breakdown of the strategic brilliance that once defined their public image. Investigative sources indicate that Lori Harvey has spent the weeks following the Oscars in a state of professional and personal isolation as the reality of Michael B. Jordan's total indifference finally settles into her bones. The investigation into her inner circle reveals that the once loyal squad of influencers and socialites has effectively vanished, with many of them reportedly fearful that being associated with the fumble of the century will permanently damage their own brand partnerships and social standing in a town that only respects winners. But the most shocking development in this third act involves the reported financial and legal fallout that is now threatening to dismantle the Harvey empire from the inside out. We are receiving investigative findings that suggest Michael B. Jordan's legal team has moved with surgical precision to sever every remaining tie between his production entities and any business interests associated with the Harvey family. This isn't just about a clean break, it's about a total scrub of his history. Reports indicate that several joint investment ventures that were quietly established during the peak of their relationship in 2021 are being liquidated or restructured in a way that leaves Lori with zero leverage and zero access to Michael's future earnings. The sarcasm from the financial community has been biting, with analysts noting that Michael is treating his past relationship like a bad stock that he is shorting to protect his multi-billion-dollar future. This move has reportedly left the Harvey family in a state of financial shock as they realized that the access they once took for granted has been permanently revoked by an Oscar winner who no longer sees them as equals. Meanwhile, the situation with Damson Idris has moved from a private dispute to a public statement of independence that has left Lori standing alone in the spotlight. Our investigation into Damson's movements reveals that he has officially relocated his primary base of operations back to London and has reportedly signed a series of high-level film deals that keep him out of the United States for the foreseeable future. Sources close to the actor say he feels a sense of profound relief to be away from the toxicity of the Harvey narrative. The investigation suggests that Damson's team has issued a quiet directive to all major publications that any interview requests involving questions about Lori Harvey will be immediately denied. He is reclaiming his identity as a serious actor, and the sarcasm from his fanbase toward Lori has been relentless, with many calling him the smartest man in Hollywood for walking away before he was completely consumed by her regret. The fallout for Lori is doubled because she didn't just lose the man who achieved greatness, she lost the man who was willing to love her while she chased a ghost. As the public backlash continues to grow, we are seeing an unprecedented level of government and industry scrutiny into the influencer culture that Lori Harvey once pioneered. There are whispers of a potential probe into the transparency of certain brand deals and the artificial inflation of engagement metrics that many investigative journalists believe were used to mask the decline of her influence after the 2022 breakup. The investigation into these claims suggests that several major beauty and fashion conglomerates are conducting internal audits to determine if the Harvey brand still carries the weight it did 4 years ago. The findings are reportedly grim. Without the association with Michael B. Jordan and with the current scandal involving Damson Idris, the aspirational quality of her brand has evaporated. People no longer want to buy the dream she is selling because they've seen the nightmare of the reality behind it. The sarcasm from the commentary world is peaking as people point out that you can't sell a lifestyle of being the prize when you're caught begging for a reply from a man who has clearly moved on to a higher frequency. The investigation has also uncovered a series of leaked emails reportedly from within the Harvey organization that show a desperate attempt to manufacture a new scandal to distract from the Michael B. Jordan rejection. These emails suggest that there were plans to link Lori to a prominent European billionaire or a high-ranking athlete just to get the headlines to change. But the investigative reports claim that none of these potential targets were willing to participate. In the 2026 climate, Michael B. Jordan is the gold standard, and nobody wants to be the guy who is used as a pawn in a game of revenge against him. This has left Lori in a professional vacuum where her usual tactics of media manipulation are failing at every turn. The world has seen behind the curtain, and what they found was a woman who realized too late that she had traded a diamond for a handful of gravel. The investigative deep dive into her recent social media metrics shows a staggering loss of followers and a sentiment score that is deep in the red, suggesting that the public is no longer interested in her story unless it involves a public apology that she seems unwilling to give. As we look toward the future, the consequences of this one ill-fated message are becoming permanent. Michael B. Jordan is reportedly moving forward with a new high-profile relationship with a woman who is being described as an intellectual and professional powerhouse in her own right, someone who doesn't need his light to shine because she has her own. The investigation into Michael's current state of mind reveals a man who is at total peace. He has achieved the highest honor in his profession, he has the respect of his peers, and he has the ultimate satisfaction of knowing that he didn't have to say a word to win the war. His silence was the loudest statement he could ever make, and it has resonated through every corner of the industry. The sarcasm from the public toward Lori's reported regret is now turning into a form of pity, with people wondering how she will ever recover from such a public and total loss of status. The final investigative reports suggest that Steve Harvey is reportedly planning a major sit-down interview to attempt to salvage his daughter's reputation, but even his most loyal fans are skeptical. The investigation into the audience sentiment for such a move shows that people are tired of the excuses. They saw the dump him license plate, they read the interviews about Michael not being ready, and they saw the Oscar win that proved him wrong. The fallout is total, the consequences are final, and the lesson is clear for everyone watching. You cannot define your value by who you leave behind, because one day that person might reach a height where they can no longer even see you from where they stand. The investigative findings into the Harvey Jordan Idris saga of 2026 will go down as the ultimate cautionary tale of Hollywood hubris and the power of silent success in the face of public shade. As the curtains close on this investigation, the final images we have are of Michael B. Jordan on the set of his next project, looking focused and free, while Lori Harvey is seen in grainy paparazzi shots looking like a woman who is finally feeling the weight of every choice she made since 2022. The leverage is gone, the pride is bruised, and the bag has not just been fumbled, it has been lost forever in the shadow of a man who became a king while she was busy trying to convince the world she was a queen. The investigation ends here, but the fallout will be felt for a lifetime as the industry moves on to the next big thing, leaving the memory of this scandal as a permanent mark on the history of celebrity culture. The final report is in, and the verdict is unanimous: Michael B. Jordan won by simply existing, while Lori Harvey lost by trying to remind him she still existed at all. So there you have it. The absolute collapse of a Hollywood dynasty that thought they were untouchable. Michael B. Jordan didn't just win an Oscar. He won the entire narrative, leaving Lori Harvey in a state of professional and personal freefall that no amount of PR damage control can fix. But now I want to hear from you, because the internet is already divided on this one. Is Michael being too cold by completely ghosting her and blocking her access? Or is this the level of indifference every man should aspire to when an ex tries to circle back after a massive level up? And what about Damson Idris? Should he have walked away sooner? Or was he just another victim of the Harvey magic? Drop a comment below and let us know if you think Lori can ever recover her it girl status after fumbling the biggest powerhouse in the industry. If you're here for the real investigative truths and the scandals that Hollywood tries to bury, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We are just scratching the surface of this 2026 season, and you don't want to miss what we uncover next. Smash that like button if you agree that success is the best revenge. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, and we will see you in the next one.